Real quick before the video starts, I just want to let you know that this video was recorded almost 2 months ago, so a lot of the information is pretty antiquated. If nothing else, I think it's a good resource for understanding what happened in the stock market and a good way to look back and see what I got wrong. Thanks.
Hi, and welcome back to my channel. A very interesting week in the stock market. Stocks have struggled, but there's great news on the horizon. Pfizer's vaccine has been approved for emergency use. We're going to talk about that and the implications of what that means for my portfolio. First, we'll talk about this week. We can see down 90 bucks on the day. Over the past week, down about 270, not great. Over the past month, I am still up over $1,000, which is terrific. 3-month clip up 2,800 or 23%. Over the past year, up 48%, and all-time now up just under 48%. Or $4,900. This is awesome. We can see that my total investment in the portfolio is now $10,300. I did deposit another $150 over the past week. I made a couple of moves there. The first was huge. It was selling the remaining 5 shares of KeyBank that I owned. I sold those at $15.99 a piece, or $79.95 total. Next, I purchased one more share of O, or Realty Income, at $61.23. That, of course, is a huge player in my portfolio, and it's getting close to $1,000 now. The last purchase of stock was 2 more shares of SPHD, which, of course, is my S&P 500 ETF. I paid $38.16 a piece there, and I sold them, or rather purchased those two combined for $76.32. The last move, as always, was purchasing $100 worth of Bitcoin, or 0.00517 Bitcoin. My new position there is 0.282 Bitcoins, and my price was $19,318, which is absurdly high, but of course I have huge prospects for Bitcoin, and we will talk about that a little bit later in the video. But now we're going to talk about the FDA's approval of the Pfizer vaccine.
Real quick, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It makes a huge difference in getting this video out to more people.
Here we can see the article from Yahoo Finance titled FDA Advisory Committee Recommends Pfizer-BioNTech Vaccine Authorization. Pfizer and BioNTech's vaccine is one step closer to being distributed to health workers and nursing home residents, with the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee recommending its emergency use authorization on Thursday. The 17-4 vote with one abstention could result in the FDA authorizing the vaccine within a matter of days, which would then trigger the distribution of the vaccine throughout the 64 jurisdictions in the U.S. Dr. Peter Marks, director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, or CBER, said Wednesday the agency would take days to a week to issue an EUA. FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn reinforced the message, dimming hopes of authorization on Friday. Hahn said late Thursday the FDA staff feel the responsibility to move as quickly as possible. However, they know they must carry out their mandate to protect the public health and ensure any authorized vaccine meets our rigorous safety and effectiveness standards that the American people have come to expect. So here, the point is, this authorization means that very soon the vaccine is going to be coming out. The question is exactly when, we don't know. Likely it will already be out by the time this video posts, but I'm trying to get caught up and I'm getting real close. It says a CDC official told the FDA advisory meeting that its studies have shown the prevalence of the virus is 2 to 7 times higher than the reported positive cases, which came in at more than 14.8 million as of Thursday. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's team incorrectly congratulated the FDA on granting emergency use, saying the approval is a bright light in a needlessly dark time. Health systems around the country have already begun to schedule shots for their frontline workers, some scheduled for as early as December 15th, with the intention to adjust timing for when the vaccine becomes available. The question here that we are super concerned about, what does this mean for Pfizer stock? Here in the article, they're just talking about really the logistics of the vaccine. So they say Canada has also authorized the vaccine, with 30,000 doses set to arrive Monday. So we know the UK obviously was the first to authorize it, and then Canada, now the US. These are 3 enormous markets, so I believe that Pfizer stock could shoot up. We don't need to read the end of this article. Really, they list it perfectly here. More questions than answers. We just don't know yet. So we're going to go ahead and look at Pfizer's stock and the rest of my portfolio. Here is Pfizer trading at $42.88 a piece. My total cost here is at $162.46. I am up about 5.5%. My average cost is $40.62. These shares are all over a year old. I wish I would have purchased more, but of course, it's really easy to say that in hindsight. So Pfizer was up significantly on the day. If we move out to the week, up a lot. Over the past month, up 12%. 3 months, up 20%. Over the past year, only up about 12%, which is interesting, and 5 years, up 31%. I like the strong dividend here. I think there's a lot of room for growth, depending on what happens with the vaccine, how effective it is, and if the 2 other vaccine candidates are being used. If this Pfizer vaccine is really the only viable candidate, or at least is the most used, this could be a huge advantage for Pfizer. Unfortunately, that means it probably wouldn't be great for the greater stock market as a whole. So we can see here dividend yield is about 3.6%. Price to earnings ratio is 28, which is a bit high. But if we look at their earnings, we can see they're consistent. And everything that I've read projects that potentially those earnings will increase as the vaccine becomes more readily accessible and Pfizer is able to sell really hundreds of millions of doses. Of course, we have to talk about Sunrun, trading at $58. It is the largest stock in my portfolio. The total return here, of course, is broken, as these were all purchased as Vivint Solar shares, but I do have 27 shares worth about $1,560. We zoom out to the month, we can see up significantly, but it has cooled down quite a bit. Over the past 3 months, still up 5%. Over the past year, up 336%, and 5 years, up 644%. Not sure what to do with this stock. Obviously, I purchased it as Vivint Solar. The two companies have merged, which means that they are hopefully more profitable. If we go back down and look at their earnings, we can see that last earnings call was excellent. February 25th will be interesting to see what happens. No dividend here, so we're really projecting growth. Still a 78% buy rating on Robinhood, but I think I may dump it by then, potentially purchase some Bitcoin, maybe some other stocks, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Coca-Cola is a stock that gets overlooked in my portfolio quite a bit. Market value is sitting at just under $800. Average cost is now $51.50. Have 15 shares there. It makes up 5% of my portfolio. Total return is up a minuscule amount, but of course this is Dividend King. We know the dividend is going to grow year after year after year, and that's really the big play here. So over the past week, not a whole lot of movement, but again, this is a long-term stock. It doesn't matter. 3 months, up about 6%. Over the past year, it's been hammered, obviously due to restaurants, movie theaters, concert venues being closed. And over the past 5 years, up about 22.5%. So while that 22.5% does not look great, and that's because it isn't great, the dividend is going to continue to grow. So we can see this next dividend that's coming up is $6.15. So 41 cents a share. 15 shares. Of course, I would like to see more shares, and we know that the dividend is going to be 42 cents for the next year. So the dividend yield here is about 3%, and as I mentioned, it's going to continue to grow. So let me know what you think about Coca-Cola, or if I should maybe purchase some more Dividend Kings like 3M or Johnson & Johnson. Here we have AT&T trading at $30.81. This is an interesting one because it's been a big struggler in my portfolio. Total return is now down $13.09. The play here again is the dividend, huge dividend, $6.75% is the dividend yield, 59% hold rating here on Robinhood. I think I would purchase a little bit more of this if I could. Over the next couple months, we'll have to wait and see. I think the dividend play here is really strong, as well as the fact that, as I mentioned before, with the T-Mobile and Sprint merger, there's 3 players left in the market, so that could be huge for AT&T. If we go down to their earnings, we can see that they are trending downwards slightly, but they have been very consistent. So that's awesome to see. Over the past week, up nearly 5%. Over the past month, up 8%. 3 months, up 6%. Over the past year, still down 19%, and 5 years now, down about 10%. So we can see downward trajectory here over the past 5 years. But this is one that I'm fairly optimistic about. I'd like to cover it on its own in a video. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Last stock for today is going to be Walmart, trading at $147.54. Total return is up $50 or 21%. My average cost is $121.86, and it makes up less than 2% of my portfolio. Walmart's been very good for me, and we know that the play here is that Walmart's very consistent regardless of how the economy is performing, or really the general stock market's performing. So flat over the past month, 3 months up about 8%, 24% on the year, and 5 years up 147%. We can see here very consistent growth, very strong growth. There's a decent dividend here, 1.5%, but this upward growth and consistent growth is what I'm really interested in. We always have to talk about Bitcoin, so that's where we'll end today's video. Trading currently at just under $18,000. My total return is up $2,100 or 73%. As I mentioned before, total quantity is now up to 0.282 Bitcoin. Average cost is creeping up. It's now $10,345.15, and this makes up 33% of my portfolio. I purchase Bitcoin every single week. I'm a big believer in Bitcoin. I think that by the end of next year, projections I've seen are anywhere between 120 and 400,000. Anywhere in that scenario, I would obviously be doing great. So I'm going to purchase as much as I possibly can, and the hope would be half of a Bitcoin in my portfolio by the end of next year. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin. Perhaps You have opinions on cryptocurrencies, and I'm always interested to hear what other people have to say. Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and I'll be back with another one next week.